And welcome to this special show on Rajya Sabha Television. I am Vishal Dahiya, and here we take a stock of battle against COVID-19. Now, one of the very important aspects in any democracy is conducting free and fair elections, and that indeed is a big challenge during these COVID-19 pandemic days. However, the preparations are underway. Guidelines have been put in public domain by the Election Commission of India in the month of August itself. We'll try and understand what exactly are those guidelines and what are the preparations. How does the Election Commission and the entire administrative machinery plans to navigate through this pandemic and ensure the conduct of free and fair elections? And for more on this, we're joined by a distinguished panel of guests. Let me first introduce them to you, beginning with Mr. Akshay Raut, former Director General of the Election Commission of India. We also have with us Mr. Ashok Tandon, Senior Journalist, and Dr. Sunila Garg, Director Professor and Head of the Community Medicine at Maulana Azad Medical College in New Delhi. Welcome all of you to Rajya Sabha TV. Let me begin with you, Mr. Raut. The detailed guidelines do take care of a lot of aspects, starting from the campaigning to the polling as well as the counting of votes as well. So what exactly are the highlights out there put in public domain by Election Commission?
Yeah, this is quite a different election than any election ever held in India or in the world. Okay. Why Indian elections are famous? Please allow me 1 minute on that. Because India delivers a credible election each time on time. Okay, that has always happened in the past. Never the country or the Election Commission has failed. But today the situation is completely different. There have been challenges of all types, each election to election, but this one is completely different. So the guidelines which you mentioned and which was issued a few weeks back, they convey this tightrope walk. This is a tightrope walk and almost sorting out a dilemma. There have been questions in the public domain whether the elections will be held. The Bihar pandemic rate has been examined. Recently we had in Bihar the G and NET exams conducted under severe stress. The medical arrangements are under a lot of stress. And believe me, election is not like any other thing. It's not like a G or NET exam. It's not even like a marriage party. It is 7.3 crore people who are electors. It's one of the largest electorate even compared to any country. So it requires really a bold intention and at the same time very cautious approach to deliver an election which doesn't result in some type of, a counterproductive in terms of health and mortality. And at the same time, it is correct, participative, and secure and smooth election which Election Commission wants. Okay. Now, coming to the guidelines convey this. And one or two things which, because I had the privilege of being associated with the Election Commission in the past, one or two distinguishing features is that we had every time, for example, a nodal officer for each type of important aspects of the election, like EVM, security, money, expenditure control, etc. But this time, we have a health nodal officer. I think the health nodal officer's role will be very important. And now, always, if you go through the guidelines, which are called the guidelines for general and by-elections, it doesn't talk about Bihar, for example, because it covers all the elections which come during the COVID-19 pandemic. So, you find that there are umpteen number of steps to secure the elector and the voter who is a participant. At the same time, the large number of thousands and thousands of election workers, officers, managers, security people, their own safety, security, and good health has also been kept in mind. Something which impressed me most here is that the inclusive nature of the Indian elections more underlined during recent years, that no voter has to be left behind. That is expressed in a manner that even those who are infected with COVID are being allowed to vote in the last hour of the day. In fact, some who are earlier in quarantine, they are being allowed to vote through postal ballot. I think these are very special arrangements. And though some countries have gone to election in the COVID times, most of the countries have abandoned because of they thought that, they are not secure, they are scared. But our management organization, the Election Commission of India, and with that, the associates like Home Ministry and others, and the Bihar state government, I'm sure they are working on a timeline and working in an arrangement in which we'll find a good election, if not a hugely the same election as before, but it will be a good election. This is not formally announced, but I'm
Okay.
sure that the way the arrangements are going, we are going to see again a good election in a politically significant Bihar.
Okay, and clearly, the guidelines which you mentioned clearly take note of all aspects of conducting an election. Let me bring in Mr. Tandon here. Mr. Tandon, when we talk about elections, the first and foremost and the most important thing, apart from obviously the voting day and the counting day, is the campaign process. Now, the campaign process is really, really important, both from the point of view of the electorate, that is the voters, as well as political parties and their candidates. Now, this time around, the campaign, most of it will be digitized, as in, virtual campaign. So, two aspects here. One, how feasible is it? And two, will it be possible for authorities like Election Commission of India to enforce the MCC Model Code of Conduct on the virtual campaign as well, in similar way as it is done on the physical campaign?
I think Election Commission is considering giving relaxation in the Model Code of Conduct as far as the campaigning is concerned. They may allow this time, although it's not yet announced, wall writing, posters, and things like that, because all political parties are not on the same footing. And so for level playing field, because some of the parties in Bihar may not be able to spend that much of money on digital campaigning, and therefore the traditional mode of campaigning may be back at least to some extent. So therefore, I think the campaigning has already started. Virtual rallies are already taking place by the major rivals, and they are already in the field. But still, I think once the election dates are announced, obviously the parties will evolve their strategy for campaigning. But certainly this time, campaigning will be a tough job because of the pandemic restrictions, social distancing, etc. And the gatherings also will not be allowed more than 100 or something like that. So I think to ensure level playing field between the big parties and the smaller parties in a state like Bihar, there may be certain relaxation as far as campaigning is concerned. But I think by and large, the principal rivals, that is the NDA under Nitish Kumar and the RJD-led alliance, they are reconciled to the situation. They have already overcome the flood situation, which was, Bihar was hit very badly, but now things are returning to normal. Although pandemic is still there, but I think campaign strategy have already been evolved, and most of the main rivals are gearing up for the digital campaigning. They have already spent money, and the platform which are available for digital campaigning are also ready. But I think one issue which may have to be considered by the Election Commission is how to control the misuse of these digital campaigning platform, because they are already in talk with some of the leading platforms. And last time also we saw that they voluntarily evolved a code of conduct for restraint social media campaign. So all these things are still crystallizing. I do feel, as Raut said, it will be a totally different election. And similarly, campaigning also may be slightly different in that sense, because Bihar is not a rich state. And the candidates also don't have much of money. Parties also would not like to spend huge money, and they can't afford. So therefore, campaigning will be different, but ultimately they will have to rely on digital campaigning and also the virtual rallies, which have already started. So
Okay.
I think let's wait and watch.
Okay. How do you view the other aspects of these preparations and guidelines, as Mr. Raut also pointed out, specifically, allowing the COVID-infected persons also to cast their vote either via ballot if they are in quarantine centers or in the last hour. Basically, the idea here is to ensure that no voter should be left behind.
The Election Commission is going to send its team to Bihar to assess all these preparedness. So I think once the Chief Election Commissioner-led team visits Bihar, and maybe all the arrangements like having polling booths, spacious counting centers and all that will be put in place.
Okay, okay. Let me bring in Dr. Sunila Garg here. Dr. Garg, health is really an important aspect in today's times with the pandemic situation going on and elections, as both our other panelists are pointing out. There are several aspects of conducting an election, and the guidelines have been put in place. But from a health professional's point of view, from the point of view of public health safety, how do you view this entire concept of conducting elections at such a large scale during this particular pandemic?
Thank you so much. It's a very important question. I think, when we look at the complete guidelines, the voter has been put to the center of the whole process, along with the people who are facilitating the elections. That means, you see, earlier we were having about 1,500 electors per station. Now we are having 1,000 electors. And along with that, the whole machinery, that means people who are there at the polling booth, the polling officers and all, they have also been taken into consideration. That means we are looking at complete SMS. That means we are looking at social distancing, we are looking at masks, we are looking at sanitization part. So these three become the crucial things, along with the availability of gloves and all that. That becomes very important. Another thing which is very important is we need to look into consideration is that when it was being talked about that we need to do the virtual campaigning and all, at the same time when we are having a mixed method, we are looking at not more than 5 people, maintaining the social distancing, will also doing the canvassing part of it. So that is another important part, and they also will be doing all the 3 things in terms of SMSing and all that. And another thing is that it becomes very important that how do you prepare your booth in terms of sanitization? How do you sensitize your people who are there at the polling booth? The people who are the polling, facilitating the polling process, they should be aware of the symptoms. They should not be coming to the booth if they have symptoms and all that. So they will be checked before that. And otherwise, if they are suffering from any symptoms, then they will also be quarantined and they will not be, asked to come to the booth. So that is one of the important things. The second important part is that, which was already mentioned, that the electors who are coming to vote, if there is somebody who is having symptoms of COVID-19 infection, they will also be asked to vote, but at the same time, they will be coming towards the last, so that, they have minimum time, to taking to vote. And second time is that they can facilitate the whole, they are equal participant to the elections, but thirdly, they do not give infections to others. So that is another important thing which is there. And you see, another part which is very important is that earlier we could put any number of desks for counting, the total number of votes, but now we have got not more than 7 desks which will be utilized. That means less than number of manpower also.
Okay.
And the second part is even the boxes and all, they also will be sanitized, before, we open them. And the second is that the second part also, when we carry the stuff, that whole sanitization will be taking place. So it is, you can say, a 360-degree consideration from the health perspective for prevention against, acquiring against COVID-19.
Okay, so 360-degree protection is required, and the norms and procedures will be put in place there. We'll get to know more when the Election Commission finally announces the poll dates. It'll come up with the detailed guidelines as well. But let me bring in Mr. Raut once again here. Mr. Raut, one aspect which Mr. Tandon was speaking on, and the context here is that elections in India are considered like a festival of democracy, and they are celebrated in the same manner by all stakeholders. The campaign process, which Mr. Tandon was also referring to, that is one area where you believe, Mr. Raut, it needs a bit more, scrutiny there further, and perhaps a bit more overwatch by the authorities, virtual as well as physical, in these times?
Yeah, this will require a lot of monitoring, a lot of watch till the time the last ballot is cast. But as Ashokji mentioned, in fact, let me start with that point, then I'll come to 2 other important points. This, according to many, they apprehend that this could be an unequal election because of the focus on digital and virtual campaigning, which definitely puts the people who have more resources at an advantage. That's one. Part B of the same problem is that it's not measurable because the footprints are not very sure on a digital or virtual media. So for the election monitoring point of view, the expenditure monitoring point of view, who has spent how much exceeded, it's not easy to catch. But it's not for the first time this problem has been encountered. But this time it will be more. But one thing we should not miss, in fact, it has been mentioned a little bit, that election commission still has gone ahead to allow personal interaction like door-to-door campaigning and like physical interaction and small meetings. These are all there. These are to cater to the people who still believe in it, and secondly, who cannot afford virtual and digital campaigning. That's one. Then one thing which Dr. Saab has mentioned, I must emphasize it a little more, is that this election management is going to be dominated to a good extent and for the right reasons by health workers and doctors. We have to behave as the doctors ask us to do, as we have been doing in every other non-election aspect of our lives so far. And by that, we are safe. And just imagine, can you ever imagine that the EVM button which the voter presses will not be a bare finger. He or she has to have a glove for that. And the paradigm shift is now in any polling station, we have only 1,000 maximum voters. Earlier, it was 1,500. That reduces the density, and that makes sure that the social distancing is possible. These are real paradigm shifts. But still, all said and done, it's not going to be easy work because I think as step by step, as we go into the election, we'll find problems which we have not perhaps encountered, like with this virus called COVID-19.
Okay.
There are a lot of things which have evolved and we are encountering them for the first time. Some countries have been bold to go into election, whether it is Australia, South Korea, Malawi, but many have not gone because they are worried. Now, if we are going to the election, looks like we are going into this, and it is going to be a very bold and imaginative experiment, and at the same time, it will lay the path for the future. You see, in next month, very quickly, we'll have elections to West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Kerala. We have very high voltage elections coming, in which the street campaigning is the norm. There are charismatic leaders who would like to come and hug and speak. But I think this Bihar election is going to set the template for other elections. In fact, some of these aspects may be kept permanently as well. I think the other day, perhaps in a global convention of about 120 countries or something, Association of World Election Bodies, I heard Chief Election Commissioner describing it as a tough predicament. In fact, that itself is an understatement. It's a really tough predicament.
Okay.
And last point I'll mention. These days, elections have come to be known in India for their huge participation. Election Commission has come up with an iconic program called Systematic Voters Education and Electoral Participation.
Sweet.
For about 10 years now. Yes. And I can't imagine what will be the shape of sweep to this time. SWIP is through information, education, and motivation, getting voters to involve in large numbers so that our democracy doesn't have a deficit. Our democracy is more fulfilled.
Okay. So indeed, it is a bold exercise.
Most of the sweep will be engaged. Just to complete, most of the sweep will be perhaps engaged to tell people how to come keeping themselves safe from COVID. Yeah.
Okay, there it is. Indeed, it is a very bold exercise, and it is going to be tough for all the stakeholders, specifically for the Election Commission and the authorities. But this, Mr. Tandon, also shows our resolve as a country, as a nation, that we can fight this particular pandemic, carry on with our a regular life, and also the most important aspect of a democracy, that is conducting free and fair elections.
Certainly, India is the world's largest democracy, a working democracy, a very successful democracy, and with the freedom of press, with judiciary watching. But one word of praise I must say for the security forces and the staff which will be conducting the election, because this will be something very different from the normal circumstances. We have been talking only about the voter, but what about thousands and thousands of the staff, conducting staff, and the security deployment? Because Bihar has been notorious in certain ways as far as elections are concerned. So I think India would be setting an example before the world that we are not only a largest functional democracy, but we can even fight back when it comes to conducting elections or showing the world that we are a democracy at work. And I think, as Ralph rightly said, we are going to face so many elections in the coming months. So therefore, setting an example in Bihar would be, I think, an eye-opener for the rest of the world, a country with so many problems at the grassroots level, fighting this floods and earthquake and whatnot, and then also facing pandemic, and at the same time continuing to work for the functional democracy and make it a success. So I think it's going to be a great achievement, but all the stakeholders, I think, will have to be given, a thumbs up as far as holding the election is concerned. I think the Election Commission has a huge task at its hand, and we do hope that the cooperation of the state government, the machinery at their disposal, as well as the security deployment, all of them put together, and we should not underestimate the role of the media which they will be playing. In fact, many of the news channels and journalists are already in position in different places in Bihar. They have started covering the election. So I think it's a great task. I think we must salute Indian democracy.
अशोक जी आपको याद होगा जो मिसेस बिल क्लिंटन, तो उन्होंने बताया था कि इंडिया की जो इलेक्शन सिस्टम है इसको गोल्ड स्टैंडर्ड, शी हैड डिस्क्राइब्ड इंडियन इलेक्शन सिस्टम एज गोल्ड स्टैंडर्ड. दिस गोल्ड स्टैंडर्ड इज गोइंग टू बी टेस्टेड दिस टाइम. Mrs. Hillary Clinton described election management in India as the gold standard. I think this gold standard will now this time come out more dazzling.
Indeed, India's election management and the overall conduct of free and fair election is being praised everywhere in the world, and almost every democracy looks up to India in terms of how this sort of exercise can be conducted at such a huge scale. Let me bring in Dr. Garg for the final concluding comments before we bring this to an end. Dr. Garg, from a public health expert's point of view, what are the key focus areas which you would suggest rather to all the stakeholders and the government, ECI and administrative machinery involved with this to ensure it being done when this is being implemented on the ground, when actually the election machinery is rolled out?
I think the first important thing which I will suggest is IEC. That is, inform the individuals, educate them, and communicate them through effective methods of communication. Whichever the state may be, because as has been already mentioned, that we are the largest democracy with, different parts of countries are different. So earlier we are beginning with Bihar. So, we also know the socioeconomic differentials also of the state. So people need to be empowered. They need not be scared that it is COVID-19 infection, so we need not come to the polling booth. They need to be informed that proper measures can save you and you can cast your vote. So that is where the empowerment lies. Second thing is empowering our people who are facilitating the whole process. They also need to be protected. So that is where I was talking about the three things, that is SMSing part, social distancing, masking and sanitization. Apart from that can include appropriate PPEs like personal protective equipments, like giving them disposable gloves and all that. The third part is that wherever possible, the COVID-related information material also needs to be, kind of displayed, whether they are in the polling booth and all that. And also, for the public's convenience, also app is being launched, which is known as Suvidha app, where you see the voter can see where his polling booth is going to be, and if it is not going to be convenient for him, he can choose. That is where I see that the voter is at the center. There are a lot of responsibilities now which are decentralized at the district level, choosing of ground so that we can avoid, overcrowding. So, social distancing also becomes very, very important. Idea is to educate everyone, whether we are a voter or we are facilitator of these biggest democratic elections. So that is one thing which is very important from public health perspective. Educate them and empower them.
Okay, definitely. There it is, educating and empowering everyone involved out there, specifically the voters. Thank you so much, Dr. Sunila Garg, Mr. Akshay Raut, and Mr. Ashok Tandon as well for sharing your views and time with our viewers. So there it is, all about the protocol and challenges for holding elections during pandemic times. The guidelines are very much in place, but let's wait and watch. As the Election Commission announces the dates, we'll get to know much finer details of how this entire exercise will be conducted. We'll come back again with with a different topic. Till then, keep watching Rajya Sabha Television.